see that Jade Helm is the top story. Texas bristles at Obama invasion. Fears fester. Rand Paul plays down comments on military exercise. Governor working to calm the public. I just so happened, as fate would have it, to be downtown this morning, and I ran into Daniel Hodge, the chief of staff for Governor Greg Abbott. And I talked to him a few weeks ago, but then I just so happened to run into him and talk to him for a few minutes. We're picturing him there behind the governor from the Texas Tribune photo. And I said, what do you think of this whole Jade Helm thing? He said, well, we just put out the facts. We're going to guard people's basic rights, and we're just moving on. The media wants to make stuff up they can. We're going to worry about the new legislature and trying to get more jobs to Texas and to keep taxes low. And I went on to talk about the hoax they ran, claiming that I wouldn't show up for this week with George Stephanopoulos. He had a fill-in guest yesterday, as if I wouldn't show up to a live TV program. They said it was live. They backed out of it. They said taped. I said no. Then they sent a car right before, one text. Sent Nico a text 45 minutes before saying, where is he? Just classic. This is the type of dirty tricks these people run. I will go on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, any of these dinosaur media corporate outlets, anytime live. Everybody knows that. And I will clean the floor with you just like I did Piers Morgan. And you know what happened to him. And it became the biggest, as voted by CNN and the LA Times and others, the biggest news event, the biggest particular news on the news, the biggest freak out. You can pull the articles up. In that year, 2013. It was on every major channel for weeks. His ratings bumped for a week and a half from 1.5 million to over 3 million, and then he went into free fall. Because they can't handle it. There was a whole other segment coming up, and they kicked me out and had security throw me out because I cleaned the floor with him. But it doesn't matter. They just claim that I'm afraid to debate them. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Now, what's not hilarious is breaking and is coming up at the start of the next segment. ISIS terrorists threaten London attack. And I've explained to folks, I was there days after the 7/7 bombing in 2005. That was a pure patsy event with folks taking part in a drill who they set up and then later executed because some of them figured it out. And I made a whole film about it, Terror Storm, detailing it and proving it. ISIS is different. The West funded with billions of dollars the last 5 years and recruited hundreds of thousands of jihad fighters funded by Saudi Arabia and others in Qatar. They allow them to fly all over the world and to recruit and operate. And I've been predicting for 4 years ad nauseum every week, maybe somebody will put the clips together, where I said we're funding them in Benghazi, in Libya, we're funding them in Syria. It's going to blow back with attacks on the West, and they're going to use those attacks to take our liberties. I have said it not hundreds, but probably 500 times. Paul Watson joins us from London with these new developments. They've got photos of explosives, where they're going to hit. Their main recruiting base is London. They've been protected by MI6. This could be used to bring in real tyranny. Now, that said, something I was able to pull up this morning that we predicted and laid out, and it's not about saying, oh, look, we were right. It's about letting folks know that we're not making this stuff up. It's not about counting coup or keeping score. Cy Hirsch has come out and says the White House is lying about the killing of bin Laden. And I happen to have all the videos and news articles we did on May 2nd, the day after Obama said this in 2011. And so those clips are coming up. And then I said exactly what really happened and had the Navy SEAL families on. And then we talked to Cy Hirsch, by the way. He called us or he emailed us about all this. I talked to the governor's chief of staff this morning, Mr. Hodge. I'll be telling you a little bit about that coming up towards the end of the hour. There's also this big controversy that, I mean, from Breitbart to ABC News, saying that I chickened out and would not show up to a debate with This Week, Stephanopoulos' show, which is just ridiculous. I mean, no one that's a listener believes that. It's just It's all part of the deception of these people, a tissue of lies. Speaking of tissue of lies, the big news today is twofold. ISIS is saying imminent terror attack in London. That exclusive breakdown is at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com with Paul Joseph Watson. We're going to be talking to him in just one moment. So there is a lot to go over today. But if you go back to May 2nd, 2011, to Infowars.com, and we're reposting this right now as we speak. Exclusive Bin Laden dead hoax exposed. Alex Jones, May 2nd, 2011, the day after Obama on May Day launched his socialist hoax, and that video has 1,071,819 views. You go to the next day, and there's a breakdown. And then the next week, May 11th, proof, Bin Laden death, another government lie, 911,000 views with Rob Dew and myself. Then Cy Hirsch begins to correspond with this office, with one of our investigative reporters via email, asking us questions about our Navy SEAL contacts. A few weeks later, he writes stories for the New Yorker magazine. Paul Watson wrote about the story. Cy Hirsch, Bin Laden raid, one big lie. Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist slams pathetic U.S. media for failing to challenge White House. That's September 27th, 2013, roughly 2 years later. Today, Cy Hirsch comes out, and it's all over the international news. Hirsch, the White House is lying about the killing of Osama bin Laden, who reportedly died in 2011. At the bottom of the hour, I'm going to play some clips from our breakdown of this 4 years ago, the day after it happened, and compare that to now what Cy Hirsch is saying. Talking to Paul Watson over the phone today about writing an article about this, I won't even talk over the telephone about my sources. This is very dangerous. Just want you to know that. This isn't a game. And this is kind of stuff you get killed for. The good news is a lot of these Navy SEAL families are now public, not just telling us privately or telling my family things privately. I have this from multiple sources, myself and through family in the military. I'm just going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. But they killed those SEALs in that helicopter. They got rid of them. That's when the family, a few months later, started going public. I was sought out. Some of the families we had on later. And they concurred. They said, yes, the word is that bin Laden had already died of kidney failure in 2002. And this is what you heard from insiders like Pachinik and others as well. Steve Pachinik, Council on Foreign Relations. And that there was a bin Laden double in a Pakistani safe house, basically on house arrest, a half mile from their main national military headquarters. And there was no firefights, no nothing. The SEALs were sent in, and they killed the double. They began to question it with this body on board the helicopter. One helicopter was blown up trying to get rid of the SEALs to confuse things. And then they had to get rid of the rest of the team that was sent in a few months later with a helicopter that was set up to go into the ambush and to be blown up as well. And I was told directly by Navy SEALs, I'm just going to stop right there, that they knew there was a bomb on board. And their superiors were telling them, oh, Al-Qaeda must have gotten a bomb on board at your base. So I broke all this down. In fact, when I learned this, I shot a video in my car leaving the meeting. I was so concerned. And that video is up on Infowars.com. And you notice now, I told you the Situation Room video was fake. I told you they didn't have live feeds. I told you that it was all scripted. I told you that there was no burial at sea. And then they court-martialed over 100 people on the boat who've gone public and said there was no burial. It was all fake. Stratford emails got hacked. Stratford for the CIA was on the job trying to discredit me. They did that with a Cass Sunstein cognitive infiltration move, having their operatives claim that I work for them to cover the fact they were trying to bring me down. I mean, I live a cloak and dagger life, and I'm not looking for trouble. I'm not looking for revolution. I just want my republic back. I want my Bill of Rights back. I want due process back. I don't want special interest hijacking the country, signing us on to tens of trillions of dollars that aren't our debt, and sinking the republic. And there's all these enemy programs trying to misrepresent who we are and what we say because the government listens to us. Good people in the military, in the Congress, in the state houses, listen. You got everybody from Rand Paul to Ted Cruz to Chuck Norris to Governor Abbott coming out and agreeing with me and saying, yes, there's a takeover of our military. They're being developed for a mission against the Patriots. Louis Gohmert said it, the congressman, Chuck Norris, you name it. That's why we have a concern, because they admit the main mission training is shifting to domestic. And on the Jade Helm website, they admit that it's about conquering the human domain, sociology, anthropology, to understand their future adversary. That's what they're training for, America. Of course it has dual use. But that's what's happening, and we're forcing a debate about it. So I'll break all this down coming up. And I've said this many times, I'm in over my head. And we're all in over our heads. I mean, there's no way to track all of this. Now, I do want to get the article up on Infowars.com as a featured story. I came in before the show, and it was about 45 minutes ago. I gave the directive to flashback our articles and our videos from day one, from day two to be technical. I need to get those up on Infowars.com. And then I need to get it tweeted out to everybody on the Cy Hirsch front. But you notice over and over again, this continues to unfold and happen. And it is live now. Flashback, Seymour Hersh, the bin Laden raid, one big lie. And if you scroll down more into the article, if you scroll down more into the article, you can see the videos that we shot on May 2nd, 2011, breaking it all down. And we specifically need to put those out as their own story. I mean, we just continue to call everything, and we're digging through all the videos. We're going to add the Navy SEAL family interviews, the names of who they say the body double was. We have it all. We know what happened from the Navy SEALs. They weren't able to kill. We're going to skip this network break because this information is so important. We take you now live to London, England with our UK correspondent and editor-at-large of Infowars.com, Paul Joseph Watson. Paul, I tell you, we keep talking about things accelerating, intensifying with the expanded EU treaties, the TPP treaty. We've got major news on that. So much is happening. But first off, ISIS is a real Western-funded terror brigade. We know a SWAT, MI6 protected the head of the London bombing attack. It's following the same MO. They're showing photos and more of bombs, saying they're preparing to attack England, imminent attacks. Again, this is synthetic terror, but nevertheless real. From my view, we just saw what happened up in Dallas, in the suburb, Garland. Paul Joseph Watson from London, on the ground, joining us via audio Skype from the ground. What do you have to report for us?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, basically Twitter has exploded over the last couple of hours, with 3 individuals in particular threatening directly an attack on London, naming the actual targets, posting pictures of suicide belts, BB bombs, nail bombs, and saying that they're going to hit London with this hashtag London attack. That's important. People may say, oh, well, this is just some idiots on Twitter. 15 minutes before the Garland attack last week, Texas attack, that hashtag was tweeted out by an individual linked to the attack. And Twitter only suspended that account the day after. These three individuals that are tweeting out these threats